Welcome back to the Best You podcast. Today, I am super excited to be joined by the one and only Andreas Ayesta. Andreas is undergoing a really cool experiment right now with himself, which I think makes it even cooler, where he's doing a 30-day diet, basically all whole foods, kind of a modified version of a Whole30 diet, and then he's going to take a couple weeks to kind of detox, if you will, or have this in-between period before he goes to a 30-day carnivore diet. And he really wants to see what are the differences and a lot of different things between the two diets. What are the differences between his hunger levels? What are the differences with regards to what it does to his body composition, his sleep data, his recovery data, his biomarkers, his blood markers? There are so many different things that he's testing. So really interested to see what results he gets by the end of this 60 days. So I want to let you know right now that you need to make sure you go follow him on Instagram to track his progress and see what he learns along the way. So you can follow him on Instagram at Andreas Ayesta. You can follow him on TikTok and his website and stuff like that, which we'll all get to. But I wanted to let you know that right off the bat because it's a super cool journey that he's undergoing. So the way I kind of want to start diving into this, Andreas, is I think that you and I have a very similar belief around the hypothesis of what you expect to see from a results perspective. It's like you're doing the whole foods diet and you expect to see benefits in probably most things that you are measuring, and then you'll do the carnivore diet, which is basically all meat and eggs. And oftentimes with most diets, I think that one of the biggest benefits and the majority of the benefits that come from these diets is what they are not, what is not included in them, which is processed foods. So I want you to dive a little bit deeper as to talking about why you believe in that as your hypothesis.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Nick. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me about this. So I think this all came about when I received a comment on a YouTube video I made about the carnivore diet. I'm an evidence-based practitioner and dietitian. So for me, the science behind things is important, but I'm always open to change my beliefs based on new science and also based on my own experience and kind of anecdotal data. I try to combine both. So I posted a video about the fact that there's not a lot of research or barely any on carnivore diets. And they're so hyped up right now in the social media world. I mean, take a couple of scrolls on social media. If your algorithm is pushing you nutrition content, you're going to see at least one video about carnivore diets, right? So I did a video on this explaining the science behind it. And I got a lot of hate comments because I think carnivore diets now have a very culty following. So, and somebody said, like, how could you know if you never actually done this? So I was like, oh, you didn't. Okay, well, I'm going to do it. So I decided to design this entire experiment around the premise of what you just said, that I feel a lot of the benefits that people experience as a result of following said diet is a result of the extreme 180 change that you create when you remove everything and start the diet itself, because you're now adhering to strict, rigid rules. And I'm 3 days into this thing, and I'm already have a lot of insights into some of the changes that I've already made and the unexpected things I've already felt in this first phase of whole foods, which I'll get into. But the reality and why I started this whole thing was with that in mind, which was, is it the result, the question, I guess the research question I had in my mind was, is going carnivore the result of an extreme elimination of literally 80% of food by just limiting to just only meat? Or is it a result of the fact that there's something specific and magical about carnivore diets themselves? And
Yeah,
there's
for
no
sure.
better way to test that than to kind of compare the two.
No doubt. And this isn't just applicable to the carnivore diet. This is applicable to any diet, really. Oftentimes, the reason why anybody sees progress or anybody can potentially see progress on all different kinds of diets is because there's no diets out there that are going to include that many processed foods, or there's very minimal diets that I know of that are going to include processed foods. The commonality amongst all of these diets are the fact that it's real foods, whole foods. And so just simply the elimination of the processed foods and the fast food and all that kind of stuff allows you to see health benefits from an energy perspective, maybe from a weight loss perspective, probably from a blood markers perspective and stuff like that. However, one of the things that's really important is like, that's the commonality. But also one of the things that's important when you're comparing two things, diet to diet, is making sure that a couple of things stay equal with regards to calories and protein, mostly in particular if we're just thinking about nutrition and making sure that when you're comparing one diet to the other, that calories and protein are equal. So I know that that is a part of how you're going to go about this. I'm interested, how is it that you're going to be able to keep protein basically the same when you go from whole foods to carnivore? Because that was like one of my first questions, because when you do carnivore, like it's basically protein and fat and basically no carbs. And so if almost all of